Coming up on Wavelength, LCRA celebrates the end of a rate case. Bad weather damages transmission towers near FPP, and LCRA employees parade through Central Texas. Those stories and more coming up next on Wavelength.
From the Lower Colorado River Authority, this is Wavelength.
Hi everybody, and welcome to the May edition of Wavelength. Well, the Texas Public Utility Commission, as we all know, approved the rate settlement agreement between LCRA and our customers. In fact, the Commission approved every part of the agreement. The Commission also made another important ruling. They said LCRA would not be required to pay the rate case expenses of those few customers who intervened in the case against us.
It was extremely important in our case because in future rate cases, if we had been required this time to reimburse all of the three cities who asked for it, you can imagine what might happen in future rate cases when the cities and primarily the attorneys know that it's a blank check. They can argue with us forever and their fees are going to be paid. And so the Commission recognized that and decided that the legislature, in writing their law, did not intend that wholesale customers who are utilities get reimbursed for rate case expenses.
After approval of our rate case and just before adjourning, PUC Chairman Paul Meek complimented LCRA for its handling of this rate case. Said Meek, "I think that what's happened in this hearing is a wonderful situation. I think LCRA and the board has gotten everybody together. I like what I see, and I think there's happy days ahead. My congratulations to all of you, and I wish you well."
On April 18th, severe weather damaged the 345 kV transmission lines that deliver power from the Fayette Power Project to the rest of the LCRA system. 5 steel towers will have to be rebuilt, along with 5 wooden structures that supported a 138 kV line that runs along the same right-of-way. Approximately 1 mile of lines were down, and repairs will take about 3 weeks and cost an estimated $300,000. The LCRA system performed extremely well during this accident, and even with 2 major transmission lines down, power was never interrupted to any of our wholesale customers. The majority of the Cummins Creek mining equipment was sold this month for a total of $29 million. The huge dragline, bucket wheel excavator system, and the overland conveyor will be disassembled over the next few months and transported to coal mines in Montana and Wyoming. The sale caps off a 6-month worldwide marketing campaign to locate buyers for the specialized equipment.
In a related story, the Board of Directors has approved the expansion of LCRA's Powell Bend lignite mine located near Bastrop. The expansion will provide an additional 6 million tons of lignite for FPP's Unit 3 over the next 20 years. And since opening in 1984, the Powell Bend mine has consistently been recognized for its excellent reclamation program.
It's not a crystal ball, but it can help see into the future. This is an infrared camera used by LCRA's Customer Engineering Department to locate trouble spots before they become big problems. Marvin Morris and Brian Stevens travel the entire service area with the camera, inspecting substations, distribution lines, transformers, any kind of electrical equipment. The image shows thermal energy or heat. A hot spot or problem area will show up as a distinctive glow.
Peak temperature 293.
The new equipment has already proved very useful for some of our wholesale customers.
We was at the city of Leland 2 weeks ago and went by the high school cafeteria. Their transformer was virtually on fire. And we went to the city crews, and he went out after lunch that day and changed it out, and we went back the following day and looked at it, and everything's fine. He upped the size, and everything's fine now, but that transformer was glowing like a light bulb.
Morris says the infrared camera can also be used to perform energy audits by pinpointing where the heat is escaping from a house.
Last month, Angela Flores Beck was appointed to serve on the LCRA Board of Directors representing Fayette County. She replaces Roy Buchek, who served on the board for 2 years. We recently talked with Mr. Buchek about his impressions of the agency. Roy Buchek knows a lot of people in Fayette County. That's because most of them eat in his Schulenburg restaurant sooner or later. Buchek has lived here most of his life and has always been interested in LCRA. He was appointed to the board in June 1989 and was immediately faced with 2 major decisions.
I came on the board in June, but we had to make the decision in November of '89 is about the Cummings Creek mine, whether they're going to open it or close it. And of course, everybody knows my vote was to open the mine. And each month, of course, we had other decisions. And of course, I suppose the most major decision was when David Freeman left the organization, and we had to decide as to who is going to be our new general manager. And of course, my vote was for Mark Rose.
Buchek says LCRA is a positive influence on Fayette County and attributes it largely to the quality of people who work for the agency.
I enjoyed my time in LCRA. I've enjoyed meeting so many good people, and I think they're the top of the line as far as the organization goes.
Buchek says he'll miss serving on the board, but says with 96 tour buses coming through each month, he's not short of things to do. By the way, if you're ever in Schulenburg, be sure to drop in the smokehouse. You won't be disappointed.
This is Sandy Creek just before it enters Lake LBJ. The huge sandbars are a graphic reminder of the soil erosion problems that plague this area. LCRA and the Soil Conservation Service are currently working with landowners in the area to control the erosion. The Creekside Conservation Program, as it's called, is designed to help ranchers reshape eroded land and then reseed the area with native grass. These 2 techniques can virtually eliminate any future erosion and make these lands more productive for grazing as well.
That's the main objective. And of course, when we can solve the erosion coming off this field, well, that's going to help the landowner because his topsoil stays where it is, his productivity stays where it is. But the byproduct of that erosion is also going into streams and creeks that we have to take care of too. So.
Last year, the Creekside Conservation Program helped restore nearly 300 acres. 5,000 acres are planned for reclamation this year on 10 separate properties within the Colorado River watershed.
These FPP employees are doing a little special work in preparation for a homecoming. They are raising a banner on Highway 71 at the plant entrance to welcome home the troops from the Persian Gulf. Money for the banner was raised entirely by donations of FPP employees, and Ken Cobb says there was some special motivation for many veterans.
Larry Ripper and I are both in Vietnam. There's quite a few guys here in the plant that was in Vietnam, and we talked to them, and they really gave, and they felt like for once some servicemen deserved a break. And when they came home, I know that all we got was bad stares and accused of being baby killers and spat upon. So that maybe this will make up for a little bit of that.
So as the returning soldiers ride the convoys from Houston to Fort Hood, they will surely feel welcome as they pass through LaGrange.
LCRA was represented in the annual Smithville Jamboree Parade with 2 floats built by FPP employees. A company float, which had an energy conservation theme, won first place in its division, while a second float recognizing LCRA employee volunteers and United Charity efforts won third place in its group. The floats were organized and designed by FPP employee Kathy Karcher.
Well, I'm on the employees committee at the FPP, and we decided to have a float, and we asked Dudley if we could have one, and he agreed to it, and a lot of the employees got excited about it and decided to help us, and that's where we got started.
The employees did it on their own time. I think we provided about $37 worth of materials. Yeah, so the people really put a lot of time into this. And
LCRA safety character Louie the Lightning Bug, and energy conservation character Awful-Lot also made parade appearances.
It's the 64th running of the Texas Relays here in Memorial Stadium at the University of Texas. 3,000 college and high school track and field athletes from all over the United States are in Austin for this showcase event. And for veteran LCRA employee Joe Irvin, officiating at the relays has been part of his annual routine since 1960. Joe and his crew cover the javelin and discus events. Joe's interest in track dates back to his high school days in Amarillo. His senior year as a Big Sandy, Joe was the state high school 4A discus champion, which helped him earn an athletic scholarship to the University of Texas. Most of you know Joe as a photographer and supervisor of the graphics department at LCRA. But about 10 weekends each spring, he dons his whistle and stopwatch and becomes Mr. Track Official.
My favorite part is actually officiating over here on this field, you know. And seeing a good close competition, that's what I enjoy the most. When the competition is good and close and it comes down to the last 3 throws, that to me has been a very successful meet, and it's a lot of fun to do it that way.
The Texas Relays is one of the premier track and field events in the entire country. And at a special ceremony this year, several people were honored for their volunteer contributions. With family and friends looking on, Joe Irvin received an award from the university for 30 years of service to the Texas Relays. Irvin says he's already looking forward to officiating the NCAA National Championships, which will be held here in Austin in 1992. Well, that's it for this edition of Wavelength. We'll look forward to seeing you next time.